Hi everyone, this is Raymond Wood at the Raymond Wood podcast. We haven't done an episode for a couple of weeks, but we're glad to be back in the studio recording here in Brisbane. We're so excited. We've got Conor Wallace back with us again. You've probably seen Conor before, maybe over 12 months ago. Conor is originally from Ireland. He's a boxer and he's pushing through the ranks and he's going up into the tables to be that number one contender. How are you, Conor?
Yeah, really good. Thank you very much for having me on.
No, thanks for joining us, Conor. So obviously we wanted to touch base. Obviously we first had you on probably about 12, 18 months ago, just as you were starting your journey again, going through your fights and stuff and that. And since then, obviously you've been through an injury and we'll talk about that. And then you got back into your boxing again. But how's everything been going?
Yeah, it's been going well. Obviously, you know, it can't be being in that ring and under the bright lights, you know what I mean? You can do all the training you want, but there's nothing like fight night. So it's good to be back in, healthy, fit, and both hands are 100% after the surgeries and stuff. So going well, yeah.
That's amazing. Now, we first met a couple of years ago over at Function Well, the gym. We'll give them a little bit of a pump. I know those guys help you out over there as well. Amazing gym facility. And we got chatting, and we heard each other's accents and knew I was from Liverpool, you were from Ireland, and then obviously I discovered pretty quickly you were a boxer. It was great to really first meet you, and obviously I've seen you over the past couple of years and being in elite sports myself and seeing you rise and how you go, and it's been such a good journey so far, hasn't it, for you?
Yeah, it has. You know yourself, like being in that. It's all part of the journey, you know, and people you meet along the way and stuff. It's good. I think that's one thing about me and yourself. We'd talk to anyone, I think, from seeing you in Function Well or whatever, you know. We're always, even if it's not just me or you, we're always talking to someone. So it's good the people you meet along the way, and that's all part of the journey.
Now, one of the big things I wanted to speak to you about, and we've got a lot of athletes and players on our programme, and unfortunately players suffer injuries, and whether they're out for a month or 12 months. And we've got a lot of younger players under the age of 16 and the trials and tribulations of getting over injuries. Now, I remember, I think it was over 12 months ago, you had quite a bad injury to your hand. Could you talk to our listeners a little bit about that, what the injury was? But also, like, from your point of view, did you stay down in the doldrums and feel sorry for yourself, or did you stay laser focused, and how did you sort of come over that injury?
Yeah, well, to be honest, that was my second bad injury that you see me with 12 months ago. A bit before that, just during COVID, I actually broke my left hand first, and it was a very bad injury. I had massive surgery on it. It was meant to be career-ending, that injury, but great hand surgeon, Dr. Stephen Fredrickson, he looked after both my hands and got the left one sorted, and then I was back in the ring, had a couple of fights, and then I lost my first fight back after my hand surgery, so that was a bit of a bump in the road, but it was good, you know. Made me realise to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. Obviously, I was unbeaten until then, you know, so just goes to show you when things don't go your way, you got to change something, and it made me hungrier, you know. I wasn't this unbeaten prospect anymore.
Yeah. And
I really got stuck in and back to the drawing board, seeing where I went wrong and built from that, you know, and I think it was the best thing that ever could have happened to me, you know, that first loss, and I'm undefeated, went from strength to strength since that, you know, and obviously the one you see me with was the right hand. I broke it during a fight in the rematch with the guy that I lost to. So that was my first loss, and then I'm that type of person. If, you know, when I lose, I want to get him back. You know, it was always in my head. So I had a couple of fights, and then I went back for him. They offered me the rematch, and 100% I took it. So in that fight, I broke my hand in the second round.
Flat out. And
I ended up knocking him out in the sixth. So basically fought for 4 rounds with a broken hand, but this is all, as I say, as you talked about a minute ago, the journey, you know, it's all part of the journey. So I ended up getting 6 screws and some bone from a hip in this right hand. So, you know, but like, I never ever got sidetracked. You know, I came through a lot in my career, and you know, there's always going to be injuries and stuff, but you have to really, that's my job. You know what I mean? Yeah. The main thing for me was getting it right. There was just heaps of stuff I could do, even whenever I was injured. You know, shadow boxing, lots of running, like, because with now and you know yourself with the surgery these days, you can get, well, you're not in the cast anymore as such. You know, you're in that like little plastic thing. So as long as I can still run, there's heaps of stuff I can still do. You know, and
so that's like one of the key bits of advice I think you're giving to our athletes, is that even if you've got a setback, let's say it's your right leg, obviously you've still got a left leg. Yeah. You've still got your arms. You can still get in a swimming pool, or you can still do something. Is that your message to them?
100%. Yeah, like that's only a minor thing. You know, there's lots of other stuff you can do. It's not just one part of the game. You know, I know it is punching, But your fitness, your cardio, your strength, core, everything is, and obviously for the head as well. It's good to be doing something.
Is there like one bit of advice for like youngsters out there? Because we've had a young boy who's only 11 on the program. He's just broke his leg for the second time in 12 months, and he's very, very obviously upset at the moment and frustrated. Is there one little bit of advice you could give someone who's in that position? Like, what would you say to him or say to her?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a couple of sayings that I like. Tough times don't last, tough people do. So that's one thing that always really stuck in my mind. And even in my little gym I had back home in Ireland, I had my quote underneath it was, "Don't count the days, make the days count." So stuff like that always like sits in my mind, because people who were older than me, I heard these along the way and stuff, and just being around more experienced people and stuff, you pick up little things,
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for me. So it makes you realize how much you actually want it whenever stuff like this happens. And I think it's a test of character and stuff like that, so
that's one of the things that we do with our parents, and sometimes they say we can be a little bit harsh, like, because we just say to the parents, and you need to just get the kids over the line with this stuff and support them with it. And a lot of them do pull away a little bit, and I'm guilty of it as well. I've got 2 daughters. I know you've got a daughter, and we'll talk about it in a moment, but you do sometimes mollycoddle and protect them, but I think sometimes you got to really toughen them up. And I'm just saying off air before, like, we've just been on a tour with David Goggins, and anyone knows who David Goggins is. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. He's run like the Moab, which is a 250-mile race with a broken leg. Yeah. Like, and you're just saying, you've gone 4 rounds in a boxing match with a broken hand, and you've still managed to win the fight. So when you think you're down and out, you're not. Yeah. You can still keep pushing through.
Yeah, definitely. And like, even in that fight, my coach was like, he goes, "Why are you not jabbing?" I was like, "I can't jab, my hand. My hand is broke." You know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh
no."
He was like, "Jai Bataya fought with a broken jaw.
Yeah.
Do you want this?" I was like, "Yeah, 100%. He goes, "Do you want to quit?" I was like, "No, definitely not." And I went out, and if you watch the fight back, you can see me. I was like just touching with my right, and then like punching with the left. Yeah. So, but I actually did catch him with like a hook and with these bottom 2 knuckles, and because it was the top 2 where the damage was done, you can see the scar on my hand. But I ended up catching him with a hook. But then when I got him in the corner, I was like throwing 4 lefts for every 1 right, But obviously with the adrenaline and stuff, when you're in there, you don't really feel the pain as bad. But I tell you, I was in pain the next couple of days, and they couldn't even do the surgery because of the swelling. You have to wait a little bit,
Yeah, to let that swelling settle down.
Oh, the hand was like a balloon.
Now, being obviously me and my 2 girls, we love coming and watching you fight. We're always on the socials. My eldest girl follows you, sees every post. She'll come running in and go, "Dad, Conor's being on the news today." And like, it's really exciting for us to see someone in a different sport and see you rise. And it's so nice to hear that, you talk about you had a loss, but then you just went, right, I'm going to get back in there and go again. And you didn't see it as a bad thing. You're seeing it as a positive. I think that's one of the things that we're trying to impress on all of our players on our program, that there is going to be upsets along the way. You are going to fail at things, but it's how you respond to that, isn't it? And I think you're a testament to that.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm a very competitive person, don't get me wrong. The loss did really annoy me, but you can either sit down and let it get the better of you, or else stand up and really come back stronger. And I think that's what it did. I think I went from strength to strength, and it probably took a lot of pressure off me as well, because I wasn't that undefeated prospect anymore. All these amateur fights, and he's undefeated, and a few more people started to want to fight me. You know what I mean? And it was better. It probably worked out better for me in the long run. And look where I am now, number 2 in the world. So, and we're still climbing. We're getting better with every fight. And that's what we want to do. We want to keep raising that bar. Starting every camp fitter, stronger, faster. Because if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
So anyone who doesn't follow boxing, what weight division do you fight in?
So I fight in light heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Two below heavyweight. It's 79.3
kilos.
Yeah, that's the limit.
That's about 30 kilos lighter than me. I wish I was that weight.
Maybe not 79 at the minute, but give me a couple of weeks and I'll be all right.
So fatherhood, obviously, I've seen you, obviously you and your partner, and obviously you've got your lovely daughter, and we're just talking off here, like, she's 7 months. I can't believe it. One of the key ones in football is a player who plays for Liverpool, and he's called Curtis Jones. And what's been really interesting, we've done studies in the past on how when you become a father or a mother, how it can sometimes change you for the better or sometimes for the worse. And Curtis Jones, I'll be honest, the Liverpool player, he's always been one of them. He's from Liverpool, he's always been a good player, but he's never ever really gone above and beyond and really looked like he fitted. He became a father 3 months ago, and since being a father, he's man of the match every game for Liverpool. He's now getting his debut for England. Has it changed you, being a father, and in any way, for the better, for the worse? Like, how does it affect your training and all that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely think it changes your whole outlook and perspective on life, you know what I mean? Obviously, because people say, like, it's the best thing that'll ever happen to you, having a child, but like, people say that to you all the time, and, you know, but until it actually happens, you know, you're like, holy shit, like, she's actually mine, she's my daughter, and then it makes me hungry, you know what I mean? It gets me up out of bed in the morning, because I know it's not just myself and my partner that I'm supporting anymore, you know, I'm doing it for her, and what I do now, the hard work I put in and the sacrifices I make, it's all to give my daughter the best life she possibly can, you know what I mean, and provide and stuff, you know, and that being the man of the house, that's a given anyway, you know what I mean, if it's in work or if it's in any aspect of life, but it definitely has, you know, obviously I have her name on my shorts and stuff, my fight shorts, and we had her in the ring and stuff, and it's been unbelievable, you know, I take her everywhere with me, you know what I mean, she came into our life, you know what I mean, it wasn't like, you know, we changed everything to suit her, you know, and it's been unbelievable. She's in the gym, everyone loves her. It's unreal, you know.
Now, obviously, you know, my girls, they're 16 and 10, and I've got a big baseball bat behind the door for the boyfriends. Obviously, you won't have that problem. You got your 2 hands, but good luck anyone who comes knocking on the door to take her on a date.
I think with the temper she has, I don't know. I think she'll be
fine. Now, we talk a little bit about, like, balance and everything in life, and obviously, have you found, like, since you've got the little one now, the balance and training, do you have to be a little bit more organised with your time, or is it just a case of, like what you said, you just whip it up and she comes with you everywhere where you can?
Oh, well, yes and no, a little bit of both, obviously. My partner's great as well, you know, and we got her in a good routine from the start. She's been sleeping well, eating well, but we sort of keep her in that routine, but she comes into the gym and stuff and everything with me, and it's good. My partner, she does a bit of training and stuff as well, and it's good. Everything works well, but I think the main thing is routine, you know. And I'm a big person. But anyone that knows me knows what I'm like. Yeah, there's not too much I change in a weekly. I always do the same sort of thing on a weekly basis, you know. Yeah, I train in the morning, get breakfast, get it into function well for a bit of recovery. Yeah, between sessions, then I go home and spend a bit of time with my daughter and stuff, and then back in for my evening session, and obviously, with the help of my sponsors and stuff, I'm able to do that, you know. Like, I'm a full-time athlete, and without the help of my sponsors and stuff, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, you know. Yeah.
Just in regards to sponsors, obviously, we'd love to give your sponsors a little bit of a pump on here. Who are some of the key ones that have really helped you over the years, Conor?
Yeah, I have a couple of major sponsors now. That GLB Equipment, they've been very helpful, been with me a long time, and Zenko Mining Services. We've got Mazda Aspley. The driving a top of the range car, you know.
Amazing.
We got ADI Auto Group. We got
what we can do is as well for you, we'll share all the sponsors on.
100%.
On the program.
I've got them all on the back of my t-shirt anyway, which is good. You know, I put them on my fight shorts and everything. It's they've been around a while. The 2B Limitless and stuff. You know, but without the likes of these people, you know what I mean. I cannot do what I do, and that's why I'm very grateful, and I'll never forget where I come from. You know what I mean, and where I started. You know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, we'll talk about it now before we go to our first ad break, but we've got the big fight coming up on December 11th. So do you want to talk a little bit about who you're fighting and a little bit about this fighter's background? Has he got any losses on his record, and what are you feeling for the fight coming up?
Yeah, well, this will be my 4th fight within 12 months, which is good, you know. Yeah. Look, very excited to get another one in before the end of the year, and to be headlining again on the Zone. It's huge, you know. Yeah. Coming off a massive win, probably the biggest win of my career, my last fight. You can't get sidetracked, you know what I mean? The main goal is to win that world title. So any slip off from here on in, you know, I slip back down the rankings. So a win here is very important for me. Like, every fight's a world title fight from now on in. You don't want to be losing or slipping down the rankings, or else all your hard work's nearly undone. That's the cruel thing about boxing. Yeah. But that's why we love it so much. Yeah. So I'm fighting a South African guy, an undefeated South African. Wow. Ashmere Wellham is his name. I think that's how I pronounce it, but I don't really mind. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it a bit. It's a Fortitude Music Hall on the 11th. We've been watching and studying him. He looks like a pretty slick boxer and stuff. Yeah. Unlike the last few opponents, have been like, aggressive sort of come forward fighters, do you know what I mean? Big punchers. So he's a bit more of a. So it'll be good to test my skills against someone who boxes a little bit more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to beat all these boys.
We do on our program with our players match analysis, and it's really, really important, this match analysis, that we go into like a real individualised match analysis to help our players. Now, obviously, yours is an individualised sport. How much time do you spend on analysing the other player, and do you focus more on being sort of proactive and just believe in your strengths and go out with your plan, or are you a little bit reactive as well onto how they box and fight? Does that determine how you fight?
Well, we sort of sit down as a team. Obviously, my coach Greg Eadie's the best, one of the best coaches in the game, or if not the best. I believe he's the best. But just the way he breaks down to beat someone in the most simplest way, you know, no fancy business. We've never done any of that fancy stuff, you know, that fancy pad work. He'll just tell you the simplest and easiest way to beat someone.
Yeah.
And that's why I have full belief in him. And I think it's shown in the last few fights where I might have been an underdog in some of the fights, and we come out on top, you know what I mean? And that's purely down to him, you know what I mean? I do the boxing, obviously, but in the work and stuff, but without the likes of a great coach and Greg Eadie, you know, I wouldn't be where I am, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of people make up the team. I've got my strength and conditioning coach, Phil, obviously my manager, Steve, and Tasman Fighters, my promoter. But, like, it's me and Greg put the work in every day, and obviously with my strength coach, Phil, being with him 3 or 4 mornings a week as well. So it's not just, I know it might be an individual sport, but again,
there's
like
a huge team around you.
100%.
Yeah. That's one of the things I noticed with my eldest girl, Liv, like being a tennis player. Like, she's got 2 or 3 coaches around her, strength and conditioning coach. It's important you have a lot of people around you to support you, because it is lonely, isn't it, when you're in that ring and you're on your own?
Oh, it is 100%. But like, you know, if you put the work in, it's the fighting's the fun part for me. You know what I mean? I don't train just to train. Like, I train to fight. You know what I mean? And that's why I think that's why I love it so much, and I think you can see from coming to my fights how much I love the fight night and stuff. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, I live for the big nights, the bright lights, and all. So that's what drives me and gets me up. In the sessions, I know it's a lonely sport. In the sessions, you don't feel like doing, but then you just think about that feeling like getting your hand raised and everyone there, and maybe getting across to Finn McCool's after for a pint with all the boys and everyone that came to support you. It's unbelievable, you know. So that's what it's all about. You know, I think anyone that hasn't watched me, you know, I think if you tune in and watch it, you'll see what it's all about, you know. But the Irish is like, and I have a big Australian fan base here as well now. You know, it's growing and growing with every fight.
Yeah. So you obviously do fight under Australia or Ireland, because I get so confused because I see so many Irish flags when we go to the fights, but obviously you live in Australia. I take it you're a resident, or you're a citizen. Yeah.
Well, I actually have both flags on my sure? Even though I come out like in my green, white, and orange, the kit, but I still everyone knows I'm Irish and stuff. You know, if I'm Irish.
The accent is the giveaway.
But then if the people back in Ireland hear me talking, they're like, "Oh, he's got an Aussie accent now," you know. But I can't. I don't even realise it now myself. I've been here that long, but I've got the Irish flag and the Australian flag. You know,
brilliant. A
lot of good Aussie people and sponsors and stuff around me, and you need that, you know.
Yeah. Guys, we could keep chatting, but we're just going to go to our first ad break, and when we come back, we're going to be carrying on with Conor Wallace.
Would you one day like to be a professional football player? Would you like to be part of our pro player pathway? What is the pro player pathway? It's an opportunity for all Australian football players aged between 10 and 23 who want to join us to become the next professional football player. On the pro player pathway, you get to join me and my team free of charge to an event all around Australia. When you join me, we're going to teach you the secrets of football in Europe. And one day, maybe, you could be gracing the Champions League final. Guys, over the next 12 months, we're going to be coming around all the major cities of Australia. And when we come around all the major cities, we're going to be running our free events everywhere we go. So guys, what have you got to lose? Nothing. It's a free event. It's for boys and girls aged 10 to 23. And I'm going to teach you the secrets of becoming a top European football player. Oh, and one final thing. We're going to be giving away 20 scholarships to join me on this programme of a lifetime.
Hi everyone, it's Raymond Wood. We're back for part 2 with Conor Wallace. Now, Conor, we were talking about your big fight coming up on the 11th of December. We're talking about family and children. One of the big things we get some questions in from our athletes, and one of the big questions we got from one of our players was, what sort of like training regimen are you on at the moment, and how does it change on the run up to your fight night?
Yeah. So obviously we've got the boxing every day. That's a given. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
5 o'clock every day I do my boxing, and then in the morning times I have 3 mornings a week I do my strength and conditioning, and 3 mornings a week I do my run.
Yeah.
So depending on where you are in camp, obviously you're doing all the hard stuff. The start of the camp, the long Ks, the heavy strength stuff. And as I get closer to the fight and as the sparring all starts, like sparring takes priority, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's fight now we're doing. So you can do all the running, all the strength and all you want, but we have to get in that ring and fight, you know? So that's a big thing. And I think a lot of fighters do get carried away with, oh, got to do this weight session, got to do this. That's not going to help you whenever you're in sparring and somebody's punching the head off you, you know what I mean? It's fight, we have to fight, you know what I mean? So, obviously, as you put the hard work in, but I like to, whenever I'm sparring and stuff, it takes priority and you want to be sparring fresh, because obviously if you're not sparring well, that plays in your head as such, do you know what I mean? Some people don't spar that well. Like, I don't spar the best anyway, but then on fight night I rise, sort of. Like, I fight better than what I spar. Yeah. Just purely because of you rise for the occasion, you know what I mean? But I know some people who are the complete opposite, spar unbelievable, but then when they're under the bright lights, no good. Yeah, you know, just they don't perform
It's exactly
at all.
the same in football. There's been a lot of footballers over the years who've had it thrown at them, and I've seen it on training grounds in the Premier League. Like, you've got some of the most amazing trainers, but then when they get on a pitch, they just can't put it together. Yeah. And then there's a lot of players who are the other way around, and it must be tricky to balance that one.
It is, and that's why, like, sometimes you can't, like, now my coaches and stuff and my manager and that, they know me so well, they don't panic whenever I don't spar that well, because they know I fight. Like, and that's when you want to be doing it, you know what I mean? So
you don't want it the other way around.
there's no world titles won in sparring. Yeah, so, like, obviously, as I said, the main thing is the sparring, getting ready for the fight, and lots of punching, lots of pad work, and all that, working on your technique, and all that is a given. But just S&C and the running and that's just a part of the puzzle. Yeah. But the majority is the boxing.
It's actually getting in and practicing.
100%. There's nothing like, as you know yourself, like.
One of the big things that our players go through, and you obviously go through a lot, because not only, like, have you got hundreds or thousands of people in the room, but you're on the cameras, people are watching this worldwide. When you're walking into that ring, I mean, I love your walk-ins, I love the music, but I actually get nervous for you as well, and I'm like, bloody hell, like, I'm sitting here getting nervous for him, thinking, God knows what Conor feels like. Have you got a way of channeling that? Do you get nervous? Is it a good nervous energy? Are you able to turn it into a positive energy? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I believe it turned into a positive energy, because, like, the fighting is the fun part for me. Like, I love the fight nights. Like, the training, it's all right. I know you have to do it. Yeah. But, like, I definitely much prefer fighting than training, you know? Yeah. So, like, getting to the fight night, like, whenever I get to the fight night, like, knowing I've put in the work, you know, and that's where I get my confidence from, because I know I do train hard, you know, I know I put in the work, and that's where a lot of the confidence comes from. But just knowing that, right, we're here now, I have no injuries, no colds, no flus, you know, all the hours and sacrifice that I've done comes down to this. Yeah. And that's why you see me when I'm coming out, I'm laughing, I'm like buzzing, I'm dancing, I'm singing to the music and getting the crowd and everything going. And that's what it's all about, you know? Yeah. And I do love that, and it definitely turned into a positive. And I think that's why I perform on the night as such, because, like, I'm not nervous. I'm not like, oh, well, what I know the work I've done, and I believe in my ability. And if I didn't think I'd beat the boy, I wouldn't be in the ring. Yeah, and that's just how it is.
Now, your ring walkout, I want you to tell everyone the song that you come out to, and also why you chose that song.
Yeah, well, I've had a few different ones. I came out to Working Class Man at the start. I think it was my coach. He used to walk out there. I came out to a few Irish songs, and then obviously I was headlining on St. Patrick's Day, that one that you were at. I came out to a bit of an Irish song at the start, and then it burst into Run This Town, because it really got the crowd going. Yeah. And I've kept that since, just because in Sydney the last time, there was a big Irish crowd in Sydney as well, and obviously I'm very proud to be Irish, and I'll never change, you know what I mean? So it's good. And I got to play on that Irish theme because everyone knows the fighting Irish and everyone knows the Irish love a scrap, they love a
You're
beer. So, so I'll keep it going. But no, I'm looking forward to getting back. I love the Fortitude Music Hall where I'm fighting next. It is my favourite venue.
Yeah.
I've made it a bit of a home for myself now. And obviously with Finn McCool's, they're one of my sponsors as well, right across the road.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there before the fight.
Yeah.
We have the fight and then go there after. That's where I have my after party. So it's unreal and it's building and building all the time. And I'm sure you've seen on St. Patrick's Day what it was like. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it that day. Like, it was such a good day, like, to bring my 2 daughters out, and I've told them about many of the drunken St. Patrick days we were part of as kids growing up with me dad and my uncle and my granddad. And I've told you, like, my nan was from Ireland, from the south of Ireland, from a place called Kildare in Dublin. We've got a lot of Irish roots, and just for my girls to be part of that and put the green on and wear your colour and and it was such a good day and night. And then, you know, even going back in the pub in the evening, just for the atmosphere alone, like, it was phenomenal. Like, you just can't beat it.
Yeah, unbelievable. And again, I was supposed to fight last St. Patrick's Day, not the one just gone.
Yeah.
But the hand surgery ruled me out of it. So I broke my hand that November and got the 7 screws and the bone from my hip. And that was a setback. You know, I was so looking forward to fighting on St. Patrick's Day. And then it was pushed back until July just to give me a little bit of time. Yeah. And then I wasn't for missing. I wasn't for missing the one just gone. It was an unbelievable fight too. And because it was a bit of a war, and I ended up knocking the guy out in the 6th round again. So, but I think if I hadn't really stopped the boy earlier in the 1st round, it wouldn't have been as good an event. You know, the fight made it as well because it was a war and the crowd was so involved. Crazy. It was good, you know, and then getting the knockout put the icing on the cake, you know. So it was good.
It was so good. Now, we speak to our athletes about sort of like pre-game rituals. We spoke to them about last year about, like, as an example, Rafa Nadal in tennis. Everyone who's seen him, they think he's ADHD in a sense of the way, like, he turns his bottles and he twists his lids a certain way. But I know from my background, he's actually, what he's doing is he's focusing on processes and outcomes, and he's trying to put the outcome of the match away and just focus on one process at a time. And that's actual a visual reminder for him. It's like a trigger. Do you have any, like, pre-fight rituals to help you with any of that stuff, or anything maybe you're superstitious about, or for our athletes you could tell or share with?
Yeah, definitely. I am a very superstitious person, to be honest. I don't like to change much. I like to keep the same routine, as I said earlier in the podcast. But, like, so after I have the weigh-in and stuff, I start to refuel and rehydrate. I always go to an Italian restaurant. Yeah. Then the night before the fight, just like to carb up and pasta and stuff. And that's one thing I always do, but go to the same one all the time. Marinara at Clayfield, you probably know it.
Lovely.
Yeah, I go there and then I get up. So on the day of the fight, I don't like lying about, you know, and the day drags, you're just sitting thinking about the fight. So I like to surround myself with, get out and go for a coffee and be around my mates, be around my missus, you know, and it takes your mind off the fight as such. Yeah. Because on a normal day, or if I'm sparring, I never lie in bed all day or rest, or your mind's just doing overtime. So I like to, it's just another day, you know, and then I'll go to the pool, jump in the pool, have a bit of a swim, bit of a stretch. Yeah. Feel good, and I actually train the day of the fight as well, because it just helps you settle the food. And I train twice a day anyway. I don't do a mad session where I'm absolutely gassed, but I do a good blowout. You just feel better, you know what you feel like after getting the body moving and stuff. And then I'll go home and have a bit of a feed, follow my plans from my dietitian and stuff, and then I head to the fight. But obviously I like to wear the same boxers and stuff at fighting. Just stuff like that, you know. Yeah. It's just a real common thing, and same little prayer that I've always said since I was 11. Just at what my first boxing coach, he done this little prayer verse, and I've always said it before every fight, you know. Yeah. Just simple stuff like that, but
just keeping to that routine again.
Keeping to that routine. Yeah. Get my training session all in, feel good, the food that I ate. Yeah. Know what works well for me, what doesn't work well for me. So I've been around the game a long time. I've been boxing for almost 20 years and stuff, and you pick up things along the journey, along the way, and I got to use them to my advantage. Yeah.
Now, roll on this fight, and let's imagine you get over the line with that fight and you put that one away. What's the next plans? Because you've already said you're ranked number 2 in the world. who's in your sights? Who is it? Who do you want to fight, and where do you want to fight, and what's your dream?
Yeah, so like I've dreamt about being a world champion since I was a young boy, you know, and like been boxing for 20 years. As I say, this just didn't happen overnight. I have had a lot of ups and downs, you know, injuries and whatnot. So this fight in December, I'm definitely not overlooking my opponent. You know, you can't at this level. No. Anything can happen. It's a fight game, so it's very important for me. This can be a banana skin. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I lose, it undoes all my good work. So a lot of pressure on every fight now. Every fight's like a world title fight, as I say. So I'm looking forward to getting in there and doing a good job. And I like the pressure. I like having that pressure on me, and it pushes me hard in training because I know if I lose here, I slip up. So the main thing is to get a good win, and from then I'm looking forward to set myself up for a huge year next year. Yeah, obviously we're coming for that. We're not too far away from a world title shot. So,
do you think if you get this fight over the line, is the next fight a potential world title fight or not?
Potentially it could be, you know, depending on what happens with the belts and stuff. I think it's a little bit up in the air what's going to happen with if the boys are rematching or not. I think Bivol and Better Biev might be rematching in March, but again, I leave that up to my management and promoters. That is their job, but they've got my best interests at heart, and they know we're all pulling together the one way to get that world title shot. So the main thing is for me to keep winning, and if the next fight after this one is not a world title shot or whatever, and just need to be fighting. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to not fight from now until maybe next November or next October. That's pointless, you know. Main thing is to get a good win and then take it from there and see what's next. But that's the beauty of having a good team around you, you know.
As a young boy growing up, is there one venue or one sort of like hotel or one stadium where you'd absolutely love to fight in?
I think with my experience of being with McGregor, you know, in Vegas, that T-Mobile Arena, it's a special stadium. Unreal. Yeah, the walkout and stuff. I know the UFC events are mad and the fans are fanatics, you know, but I'll never forget walking out with him. Obviously, I got to do his corner for the fight, or in the cage, and walking out. I'm not joking you, Ray. The ground was like vibrating. Like I've never experienced that before in my life, but it was just never. The woman, she was like 3, 2, 1, walk, and like we start on the floor. I'm not messing. I've never ever in all my time, like I've been to some of the biggest boxing events ever, and I've never ever experienced anything like that. Conor McGregor.
What would that T-Mobile Arena hold in Vegas? Is it?
I'm not too sure, but even just the full week, the buzz, the fight week and all. But I thought that was unbelievable, right? Yeah. And then. But just that walk, I'll never forget her counting in and us walking out, and I was just like, wow, this is not wise.
So obviously I've seen on your post and I've heard you speak about Conor McGregor before. So have you actually got in the ring with him and sparred with him, or have you done anything with him in the past?
Yeah, I have. I was actually his main sparring partner for the Nate Diaz fight. Yeah. As you know, I'm a tall southpaw. Yeah. Left-handed, obviously that's the same as Diaz. So whenever he had the first loss, like he was just sparring people in the gym and whatever. But until you don't change anything until you have a loss, or if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So he obviously had that loss, and similar to myself, he wanted to get the win back. So he put a plan in place, new strength coach, new conditioning coach, and brought in sparring partners specific and similar to Diaz. Yeah. And I was obviously one of them.
That's smart.
The fight was like a boxing fight, you know. Yeah. Stand up, I'm tall, lanky, the same as Diaz, and that's what it was like. So he brought me into Dublin to spar him, and then I sparred him once in Dublin, and then he ended up taking me to Vegas for the full 6 or 8 week camp, whatever it was. Yeah, lived in Vegas with him for the full camp, and it was unbelievable. You know, the people.
A hell of a time.
Oh, it was unreal. You know, the people that we met along the way. It was, but it made me hungry. You know, and
you want that.
Yeah, that's where I want to be. You know, and that's whenever I knew, like, McGregor started from nothing, you know, and just with hard work and sacrifice, and he had plenty of ups and downs, and the main thing is the hard work and dedication he put in got him to where he was, 100%, you know, and like we met Kanye West, Cristiano Ronaldo, we met everyone, you know, it was crazy.
Crazy, yeah, amazing. I remember growing up as a kid, and always avidly loved. I always loved football, but boxing was always one that we were, the Mike Tyson fights, the Frank Bruno fights. I remember seeing those big fights in Vegas. Going, be amazing to go to Vegas and watch a fight, but it's changed a bit now. The boxing world, a lot of it's going to Saudi. There's a lot more money coming from that. So would that be something that you'd still be keen on as well if there was an opportunity to go into Saudi? And
oh, for sure, yeah. But I just got back from Saudi. I was over there at the Bivol and Bitterbeer fight, and obviously Jai Opataya was fighting, and Sky Nicholson was fighting, 2 Aussies. So it's good to go along and support them and see what it's like. That was my first time in Saudi Arabia, but again, it was good to get over there. People seeing the rankings and stuff, but it's good to get over there and do a bit of networking and meet some people that did heaps of media and stuff. But get over there, and it's about the relationship you have with them people, and that's how you get on them big shows and stuff, as well.
Yeah.
You can keep winning and stuff, but if they don't sort of have that relationship with you, or
I think it's good for people to put your face to your name as well, isn't
exactly. That's what it's all about. And again, networking and seeing people, and I'm a bit like yourself, They love talking and meeting new people, and I think that's how we sort of get on, and it was great. It was great to be there and be part of it, and again, that makes you hungrier to want to get there.
So thanks to you, you're not aware of this, but since we come to your last fight, and obviously I brought my youngest one, Paloma, we've watched Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 about 5 times over. She just does not shut up about it. She's like, it's like Conor's fights, look, Dad. And then, she was devastated when she watched Rocky 3 when he lost to Mr. T.
I must actually watch them back. I haven't watched them in a while yet. But whenever you do start getting into them, you want to just watch them all, isn't it?
But I'm using it as a bit of a psychology with her because she's done a lot of different sports over the years, where my eldest has just solely been tennis, and I'm trying to get into running a little bit just for a bit of fitness and just for health reasons. And it's funny that the night before, if she's watched Rocky, she'll get up and do a run the next day, no problem.
Yeah, just gives you the motivation.
The motivation.
Yeah.
Guys, we're just going to go to our third and final ad break, but we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Hey everyone, we are coming around every major city in Australia over the next 12 months. We have got free objective football testing going on, guys. It's for boys and girls aged 10 all the way through to 18 years of age. The objective testing is quite simple. We'll put you through our 6 tests and then give you your results: physical, technical and tactical. And also, we're going to choose 16 winners to join us on an all expenses paid trip to Europe in 2024 and also 2025. Guys, what have you got to lose? Nothing. It's free to sign up. You get free objective testing and you'll get a free feedback, and maybe you'll be joining me at the Santiago Bernabeu in 2024 or 25.
Hey everyone, this is Raymond Woods at the Raymond Wood Podcast. We're back for our little final section with Conor Wallace. Now, Conor, we've been speaking about Saudi, Vegas, big fights, pre-fight rituals, your support system and your network. Obviously, forecasting a little bit further ahead. And I know you're still only young and you're still in your career, but do you ever have any thoughts about like when it's all over and you finish boxing? One of the big things I'm saying this is that one of the things we discovered in football, and more so in men, it was really, really hard that men go through this lifestyle of living this, people see it as a luxurious life, and I know it's not. There's a lot of hard work that goes into being an athlete in any sport. But once that stops, sometimes, unfortunately, there's a lot of men who go into like depression and breakdowns and stuff. And what we discovered was in the football world is they don't really future plan ahead. Have you got anything in your head where you think, are you just going to go complete family? Would you like to be a coach in boxing? Would you come out of boxing? Do you ever think about that stuff post-career?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, boxing's been a massive part of my life, and even whenever I'm not boxing, I do enjoy a little bit of coaching and some of the charity programs. And I'm sure you've heard about like the Fight for a Cause, or the train for 10 weeks and fight at the end does be for a good charity. I get a lot out of that, and I do a little bit of PTing and stuff here and there. Not so much now, obviously, when I've got the big fights and that coming up, but did a lot of work with the NDIS and stuff.
Amazing.
The kids with learning disabilities. And whenever I first came to Australia, I was PTing and working as well whenever I wasn't training, because that's like taking classes and stuff, and that's how I built up a lot of my my relationships and sponsors, and how people got to know me. Obviously my fighting as well, but like you have to start somewhere, you know what I mean? Like I didn't jump straight into the big fights because
Yeah.
you obviously have to work your way up, you know. And even still now, like, I still take the Wednesday morning class in Fortitude boxing, and that's purely because, like, I'll never forget where I come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm never too good to give 45 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
To that, like, I met a couple of my major sponsors
Yeah.
through that class. You know what I mean? Or through them early morning classes. And how hard is it to give 45 minutes of your time each week?
It's networking again, isn't it? Relationships.
100%,
We were literally talking about this. I was in the gym yesterday and I was sat in the sauna, and this guy literally got chatting, asked me what I'd done, and then all of a sudden there was a synergy between us and his business, and then we were on a call this morning, like connecting, and it's all around helping kids and doing a good cause.
Like, you'll never know who you're going to meet, or, you know what I mean, or who can come into the class and stuff, you know. And like, I'll never forget where I come from, you know what I mean. And that's one thing I think a lot of people who know me and from talking to me, I'm pretty sort of a humble sort of person. I don't like that shit talking or talking shit before a fight or disrespect. Like, that's not the way I was reared, you know what I mean? And I've got a great relationship with all my sponsors. Like, people just don't throw me money or whatever and say, oh yeah, that's good. Not not take. That's not how I operate and how I work, you know. I've got a great relationship with all my sponsors and stuff, and I think that's very important as well, you know. Like, people will get sick of you know, if it's take, you know. How easy is? I think it's easier to be nice to people than to not be nice, you know.
It is. It's huge, and that's one of the things I wanted to finish on. Obviously, talk a little bit about your background. Obviously, we both grew up probably not too far away from each other, probably 15 minutes on a plane. Where did you grow up? I know where you're from, but just for our listeners listening, and what was your upbringing? You know, mum, dad, siblings, friends, family.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Uri, and just right on the border between the north and the south of Ireland. So an hour from Dublin and 45 from Belfast on the northern side. Like, my mother and father, Brian and Serena, and my sister. I've got a brother and sister, one older sister and one younger brother, Neve, Ellen and Guy.
Yeah.
My brother, they're actually all here as well. It's just my mum and dad are back at home. So, got a great life coming up, and obviously in primary school I went to St. Coleman's College then, but I've been boxing. I actually started boxing because I was getting bullied in primary school. That's why I started, and
wow,
I didn't think I'd be here today.
Yeah,
you know, boxing. So, it is what it is. You know, again, it's the sacrifice and stuff you make, and I'm a very competitive person. When you start winning, you get hungrier and hungrier. You know, and that's where it led me to. But I've had a great life, you know, and I think the backing of the parents is massive as well. You know, my parents wasn't taking me or pushing me on, I probably wouldn't be here today. So. Yeah, I owe a lot to them as well, and hopefully one day they'll be able to retire or whatever, and I'll be able to support them, or maybe they'll come out here, and it's good, you know. So again, all the work that we've put in comes down to this next fight. Yeah. So
just one fight at a time.
One fight at a time. Yeah. You know, you're only as good as your last performance, and that's why I never get too carried away.
Yeah.
And like we just talked about, and doing the classes and stuff in the gym, I'll never change, you know. And some people say, "Oh, you don't need to be doing them class, or you don't need to be taking." I was like, "Nah, that's just me," you know what I mean? And
it's funny, like, to finish on, like, you know, they say it's a very stereotypical answer that a lot of football players get asked. Like Liverpool at the moment, my team, you know, they're top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League, and you know, they're asking the players, you know, you're going to win the league this year, you're going to win the Champions League. But the players are grounded, and the coaching staff are grounded. Like, look, we're only a third of the season the way through. It's one game at a time, one training session at a time. And people think they're just saying that, and secretly in the background they're jumping around celebrating. But I know they're not, and it's like with you. You can't afford to do that. You can't think 2 fights ahead. You've got to think about just the next training session in front of you, which is going to get you to that fight.
Well, 100%, you know, and it's a combat sport, or it's a fight game we're in. You know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Caught or break your hand, and I know that myself, you know.
Yeah.
Everything can be going well, and then
bang,
with the flick of a switch you can. So you got to be ready for all that. So
we'll wish you the best of luck, mate. We're going to be there. We've got our staff Christmas party. He's going to be at the fight, and we're so excited to come and support you. And it's going to be super exciting. So it's at the Fortitude Music Hall in Brisbane, 11th December. What time's the kick off?
Yeah, it kicks off about 6 or 6:30, I would say.
6:30.
My fight's the main event, so it'll be the last fight. But it's a great. It's a stacked undercard as well. So every fight's going to be a great fight, and obviously for those that can make it, jump on my Instagram or whatever, and the link for the tickets is in my bio. And if you can't make it, tune in live on DAZN all over the world. So
yeah, we'll share it in the show link. So a big thank you, Conor, for joining us again.
No worries.
And hopefully the next time we have you on, we may be getting closer to that world title fight. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's what we want. But as we said, one fight at a time, and we got a job to do on the 11th of December, and we'll take it from there. Yep.
Amazing. Everyone, a big thank you for joining me at the Raymond Wood podcast. We're going to be back pretty quick. We've got 2 more podcasts coming up in the next 7 to 10 days. So big thank you for joining me and Conor. And I think everyone will be wishing Conor the best of luck. Again, in the show notes below, we'll put the link in if you're interested in coming out to Brisbane and supporting Conor, who's an Irish/Aussie. And we hope him all the best with his boxing. Thanks, everyone.